It's still me. Like I'm just chilling right there. I am. Mm-hmm.
What's his name?
25th. Okay. If I only teach you one thing to prepare you for algebra, ask my algebra students, ask former algebra students, you will hear these three words, and I'm going to try not to exaggerate. I bet at least 5,000 times before the end of the year. You will probably hear them hundreds of times before the end of the week. And the words that we're going to talk about are slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is the number one way that we are going to learn to graph lines. So far, we have graphed lines where we've had something like this. 3x plus 2y equals 4, and you've had to substitute in. And it's actually been something more like this. 3x plus y equals 4. Okay, and we've had to substitute numbers in, and we've gone, okay, and we've had to solve, right? That's how we've graphed before, because we found our ordered pairs, and then we've graphed. This is too much work. Slope-intercept form is the easiest way to graph a line. Now, I'm going to emphasize some words. Slope-intercept form. There are two things that we are going to get from slope-intercept form. Once our equation is in slope-intercept form, you're going to know the what? The intercept and the slope. An intercept means where does it cross? And it's going to be a specific intercept. It's called the Y-intercept. Where does our line cross the y-axis? So, slope-intercept form. And if you have a highlighter, you're going to want to highlight this. If you've got fancy stuff to make stars, yeah, this is it. Like, again, one thing, if I can teach you one thing from algebra, or for algebra, this is it. Slope-intercept form is in the form of y equals. Notice, we've isolated the y. That means we have solved for y. Is y by itself in this one? No, because we've got 3x plus y equals 4. We've got 3x and y on the same side. Slope-intercept form, we just want y. Y equals mx plus b. If I say, what is the equation for slope-intercept form? You're immediately going to tell me y equals mx plus b. This equation tells me what the slope is and what the y-intercept is. Mr. H, you've lost me already. There's always a method to my madness. You actually know where the slope is. Where is the slope in this equation? Faith.
Mx.
You're so close. What have we always called slope? Which letter?
M.
Just M. Our slope is just M. The x is an ordered pair, the y is an ordered pair. M is slope. And then underneath slope, I'm going to put what slope is. It's rise, which is both up and down, divided by run, which is to the right for us. It's left and right, but it's to the right for us. So we have y equals mx plus b. That is slope-intercept form. That is slope-intercept form. We're still missing one thing. We found the slope. It's the m. But now we need the y-intercept. Which variable do you think is going to be the y-intercept? Caitlin?
B.
The b. Now, listen to how I say this. I'm going to circle the positive b, but it could also be a negative b. It's whatever the sign is with the b. This is called the y-intercept. The y-intercept is where does it cross on the y-axis. Slope-intercept form tells us two things. It tells us the slope, and it tells us the y-intercept. And I'm going to put in parentheses what the y-intercept for us is going to be. And this is how I teach my algebra kids. This is the starting point. So if you're ever like, Mr. H, where am I going to start? The y-intercept. I cannot, I don't know the word. I cannot state it enough how important slope-intercept form is. Okay, I can't tell you how important it is. Okay, so we're still going to use this example, but we're only going to do 3 points. Okay, we're going to do 3 points, and we're going to find some things here. It would help if I put 3 up there. Which variable do we want to substitute in for? X or Y? Maurice? Y. The coefficient's 1, so we're going to substitute in for Y. I'm going to put in 3 numbers. I always start with 0. So now I have 3x plus 0 because we're substituting in equals 4. Everybody with me? Yes? Wait a minute. We want to substitute into not y, Maurice. We want to substitute into the one that does not have a coefficient of 1. Try again. Yeah, x. We want to substitute into the one that does not have a coefficient for 1, which is x. So now we substitute in for 0. Sorry, Maurice. It's Monday. Remember how I said, oh man, Monday and first thing, and I'm going to take a video? Yeah, and I screw up. It's on video. Perfect. So now we've got 3 times 0 plus y equals 4. That's 0 plus y equals 4. What does y have to be? 4. Okay. So let's try 1. So that gives me 3 times 1 plus y equals 4. Well, that's 3. I subtract. That gives me 1. And let's try negative 1. 3 times, actually, let's do positive 2. I want 2. 3 times 2 plus y equals 4. That gives me 6. Subtract, that's negative 2. Okay. We've done this already. We've done this on your quiz. We've done this preparing. If you are confused on this, please ask for help. I would be glad to explain it another way or work one-on-one with you. But from what I've seen in the past, and I think Ms. Tucker would agree, you guys have done pretty well at these. Even on the warm-ups, you've done pretty well at these. So what does this do for us? Well, this allows me to graph. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. What's the first ordered pair, Miss Meeks?
0 and 4.
0, comma 4. So 0 on this, up 4. There's my first ordered pair, 0, 4. Maya, what's the next ordered pair?
1 and 1.
1, 1. Over 1, up 1. Okay. What's my last ordered pair, Bailey?
2, 1, 2.
Over 2, down 2. So my line, because I made this, it's not perfect. Okay. So now I have this, correct? So I'm able to graph from this equation. So far, has this taken a good bit of work? Would you say, hey, we've had to work a little bit? Okay. Here's my next question. What is my slope? So based off of the graph that we just did, so you had to graph it first. Now we're finding slope. But before you even had to graph it, we had to substitute in, find answers, then graph. Now we're able to find the slope. Whew, okay. Is my slope positive or negative, Zoe? Negative, because from left to right, it's doing what? Going downhill. So this is a negative slope. So I'm going to start. I'm going to change color so we can see right here. I'm going down 1, 2, 3 over 1. So the slope is -3 over 1 or -3. Shoo! Everybody with me? Let's take a minute to catch our breath. You guys finish coffee, and I'm going to fill up my coffee. So this is a lot of work to find the slope. It's a lot of work to find the graph. How many of you would feel confident if I gave you 10 questions like this that you'd be able to finish it in like 5 minutes? Yeah, most of us would not. Most of us would struggle trying to do 2 or 3 of these in 10 minutes. I mean, because there's a lot of work there. It's not because you're not good at math. It's because there's a lot of work. So there's got to be an easier way. Hence, slope-intercept form. Would you say I've said slope-intercept form 50 times so far? So let me go back to a story. In Virginia, when I was teaching my honors and gifted and talented kids, I told them, I was like, listen, I'm going to say this hundreds of times. And the kid's like, no, you're not. And I had one kid who was very smart, but he was like me, he was a jerk. And he sat there and he got a notebook. And he started making marks every time that I said slope-intercept form. And he ran out of a notebook. By the end of the year, he had so many marks he ran out of a notebook. And I'm just like, well, that was stupid. I don't know what point he proved. He's like, you said it a lot. Yes, I wasn't lying when I said slope-intercept form will be crucial. I mean, he had a notebook with just like check marks. I'm like, well, that's a waste of your time. Levi. You're wearing a shirt that says Levi. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay. Are you ready for the easy cheat code now? Slope-intercept form. We're going to take the same equation. And it says 3x plus y equals 4. Here's my question. Is this in slope-intercept form? And you can easily check by saying, does it have y by itself? Does it have y by itself? Sammy, does it? Is y all alone on that side? Huh?
Yeah.
Is there anything on the same side as y?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not by itself. 3x is over there. So in order to get y by itself, we need to isolate it. So you can't put it into slope-intercept form and say, oh, 3 is my slope, because we know that's not true. We know the slope's -3. We have to get y by itself. So just like an equation, we find a balance point, and now we need to move things. What do I need to move from this side in order to have y by itself, Hannah? What do I need to get rid of on this side? 3 x's. Now, listen, this is important. You will either use the inverse of addition or subtraction to move everything besides the coefficient with the y. So it's positive 3x. So what do I want to do? What's the inverse of positive 3x? What do we think? Montana?
Subtraction.
Subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Okay, just please write it down exactly like I do. 3x minus 3x is 0. There's no more x's on the left-hand side. Y comes down. Now, here's where it gets a little bit tricky. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. mx plus b. So we want that x term closest to the equal sign. What's my x term on this side? What do we think? What do you think, Levi? What is my x over here? What does it say?
Negative 3x.
And that's what we put. Negative 3x. And what type of form? Hannah? Positive 4. Is this now in slope-intercept form? Wait a minute. All of this work, then a graph, then counting to find slope. One step. This right here is in slope-intercept, and I'm going to abbreviate intercept as INT. Is everybody with me and understand? So this is slope-intercept form. Can we find slope now? As long as y is by itself, we can find slope. What is the slope if it's y equals mx plus b? So let's do this. Let's take our little pencil and let's write it. Y equals mx plus b. What's my m?
3.
What is it?
Negative 3.
It's negative 3. The slope is negative 3. Wait a minute. Does that match up? Which is easier? Look at all this work to get the slope. Slope-intercept form is a quick way to learn to graph. Now, are we graphing yet? Not yet. That's going to be tomorrow or Wednesday or whatever day that is. But today we're worried about getting things into slope-intercept form. Now, let me ask you another question. Where would this cross the y-axis? Which means, what is the y-intercept? What is b? So out of that equation, what's the y-intercept, Maurice? 4. And you will, when you need to graph, need both to graph. So you will need both m and b to graph. Okay. So this was a lot of work, a lot of me talking. I promise it's not going to be as much. The goal for today is to get an equation from standard form to slope-intercept form. That's really what the goal is for today. So how do we do that? Well, again, let's do 2 more examples with me, and then you're going to do 3 on your own. Fair enough? Okay. So here's example number 2. 5x minus 5y equals 10. Cheers. Cheers myself. I feel like sometimes I'm the only one that watches the video, so I might as well talk to myself. Okay. My first question. Is this in slope-intercept form? No. Right, Faith? You're saying no? Is y by itself? No. That's how we know. Y is not by itself. It's got a lot of stuff going on with it. Yes? Okay. So you might have missed this when I said it over here. We will use adding and subtracting to move everything until the coefficient of the y. This coefficient with y is the last thing we move every time. So the first thing we move should be the x. Is it positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. Positive what?
5.
So it's positive 5x's. What is the inverse of positive 5x's?
Negative 5x.
So we're going to subtract 5x from both sides. Still with me? So this is 0. Now, pay attention. It's not 5y. It's negative 5y. Okay, you have to bring that down. Everybody with me? Okay. Equals. What should I put closest to the equal sign? Raise your hands. What term needs to go closest to the equal sign to try to get it into y equals mx plus b? Bailey. Negative 5x. The x term always goes closest to the equal sign. Everybody still with me? Okay. What's going to be the last thing? So we've got negative 5x. What's still on that side?
10.
What kind of 10?
Positive 10.
Positive 10. Okay. Still doing all right. Everybody still with me? Give me a thumbs up if you're like, okay, Mr. H, I can do that first step. That seems doable. Okay. A little bit more confusing. This is like the last step. This is isolating the variable. How would I get y by itself? It's negative 5 times y. What do you think we need to do? You think we're going to add? You think we're going to subtract? What's our last step when we solve equations? Use inverse operations of
Multiplication or division.
Multiplication or division. So if it's negative 5 times y, Caitlin, negative 5 times y, what's the inverse of multiplication? Division. And this is the important step. I divide every term by negative 5. Each individual term by negative 5. Every single thing. Every single thing. Every single thing. My timer's going off telling me that I'm going too slow. I've tried to time it so that you guys have time for your exit ticket. Okay, so here we go. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is?
Y.
Positive 1y. Good. You have to do everything in your calculator. Do negative 5 divided by negative 5. What do you get?
1.
1 what?
Positive 1.
Positive 1
X.
x. Do positive 10 divided by negative 5. Maya. Negative 2. Aha! Are we in slope-intercept form? Are we? Yes, we are. This is in slope-intercept form. How do we know? Y is isolated. When y is by itself, we're in slope-intercept form. Okay. So now I say y equals mx plus b. What's the slope? That's the key today. What's the slope? Maurice? 1. 1 is my m. There's my slope. Just because we have it, what's my y-intercept? What's my b? Because we need both to graph, which is what we're doing on Wednesday. Hannah? Hannah, air 5. Boom. It is absolutely negative 2. Because you have to include the sign with the b. Awesome job. Okay? One more example with me. How are we feeling? So, Mr. H, this is easy. Thumbs up. Mr. H, I'm a little confused sideways. Mr. H, you lost me about 7 steps ago. Okay, I see a lot of up, but I would be all right with these sideways because, listen, this is new. I get it. This one might confuse you. Because, listen, are slopes allowed to be fractions? Can a y-intercept, can any of these be fractions? We're always allowed to have fractions. So, let's try this. Here we go. Last example that we're doing together. 3x minus 2y equals 8. Okay? And when I say we're doing this one together, I'd like you to talk it over with your group. Leah, if you want to turn around and talk to them, that's fine. Talk it over with your group. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to talk about it. See if you can start to get it into slope-intercept form, and then you're going to walk me through it, and then I'm going to let you guys do it on your own. Go ahead. Miss Miller, do you think you can help me with the first couple steps? Okay. Tell me what I need to do.
Subtract 3x minus 3x and 8 minus 3x.
Perfect. Okay. What am I going to have left over on this left-hand side?
Nothing.
Well, these are gone. What drops down?
Negative 2y.
Negative 2y equals, and what's left over on this side?
Negative 3x plus 8.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Give me a thumbs up if we got to that point. Okay. Miss Snow, do you feel comfortable doing the next step? Okay.
Divide negative 2 by all of them.
By every term. Very good. Everything has to get divided by negative 2. That's an important step. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1y. Now, get your calculators. Do negative 3 divided by negative 2 and press enter. Do I want a decimal? So what do we need to do with these yellow calculators? Who remembers the steps to get those to a fraction? Go ahead.
Second table.
Press second table, enter, and then tell me what my fraction is. Go ahead, Montana.
3 over 2.
3 over 2 what?
X.
X. Good. What's left over? We still have to do one more. Go ahead, Montana.
8 divided by negative 2 is negative 4.
Beautiful. Guys, you're doing wonderful. So now we can look at this and I can write y equals mx plus b. And if I say, what's my slope? You tell me my slope is 3 divided by 2. Questions? Okay, we got 15 minutes. I'm going to put 3 problems up on the board. I'm going to give you 10 minutes to do these 3 problems. Here we go. 4x minus 7y equals 14. 10x plus 10y equals negative 10. And shrug. Number 3 is going to be 15x, negative 15x plus 30y equals 6. And this one is a little bit tricky. Go ahead, give them a try. You may talk, you may work with the people around you. Give them a try, please. Help each other out. Remember, you're adding and subtracting up until that last step with the y, which is when you divide or multiply if you need to. Proud of how hard you guys are working this Monday. You're doing very well. If you need help, raise your hand. I'll gladly double check. I love what Miss Snow's doing. She's already labeling M and B for every problem, which is a smart thing. I'm telling you, if I already kind of highlighted that, you're going to need that for Wednesday. When we start graphing, you're absolutely going to need both slope and Y-intercept. Slope-intercept form is critical. Plenty of time. Most of you are on number 2 or 3 at this point, which is awesome. If you're not, no, you're fine. I don't like that check. Your test, not quiz. Got 5 minutes. I'm going to do the work to number 1. That way you can just check it. So I would double check number 1. Take a look at what you did, double check number 1. So you're working at your own pace. Double checking number 2. And we get to the tricky one. So double check your work once you're done. We've got plenty of time, so if you have questions, you're going to ask. So the way class is going to work from pretty much this point forward is we are not going to have graded warm-ups anymore. We will have graded exit tickets. Okay? So once you're done, you can work on the exit ticket. Here's the rule. You can turn it in before you leave, which is what I would like. If you do not finish before you leave, can you turn it in before the next class? Yeah, as you walk in, you can turn it in. But again, exit ticket, I would really prefer you to finish it in class. Questions on these 3? Questions on the exit ticket? Great work, ladies and gentlemen.